Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Hello, and welcome to Where Energy Meets the Divine. I'm Manuchehri, and I will be answering your questions in just a few moments. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and thank you for liking and subscribing below. I'm still recording on July 14th. I'm making up for some vacation time that I took. That was extremely fun. Had a wonderful time in Hawaii and hanging out with a daughter in North Carolina. So I'm back to work and excited about that too as well. I wanted to talk to you about, this whole idea of high vibration and manifesting. It can take a couple weeks before you start to see the effects of raising your vibration. So when you're having good things happening in your life, it's not because in that moment your energy is so elevated. It's because your energy was elevated a couple months ago or maybe a couple weeks ago, and you sent all this positive energy to your future. When we're in the present, we're in the present. And of course, we are positively affecting the present moment, but our vibration is feeding our future. So you can be aware of the fact that when things are going a little crunchy or kind of uncomfortable, you go, did I have my energy low? When was the last time I had my energy low? Wait a minute. And I think that helps us when we notice that our vibration isn't very high or we're annoyed or frustrated about something, so that we can stop that pattern, because it's probably not even related to anything authentic, and shift our frequency and start sending positive, beautiful vibration to the future. So when you're in a good space and your energy is elevated, you can feel extremely confident that you are sending positive vibes to your future, and the future is going to be very bright. So that's a cool thing to look forward to. And certainly will help your moments, but it's really, 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 really going to help your future. So if you start to have weird stuff happen to you during, the week, you don't have to go, oh my gosh, my energy must be in the toilet. It might be like, yeah, last week I wasn't in a good space, or a couple of weeks ago. And that's why it's a little crunchy right now. But you can shift your frequency even in the crunchiness and start to make things improve. I love Esther Hicks's phrase, everything is working out for me. I love that phrase. In fact, the other night I had to drive to one of my other daughter's homes to do some beautiful grandchild caretaking so that my daughter and her husband could go out for his birthday, for my son-in-law's birthday. And if you aren't from this area, traffic is, it's kind of crazy for us in the Northwest. And so I try to leave an hour before I need to be somewhere in Seattle, because it could take me that long or longer. And I was getting kind of close to like, yikes, I was 5 minutes late. But luckily nothing grander than the 5 minutes. And as I was driving and kind of weaving through traffic a little bit, I kept saying, everything is working out for me. Everything is working out for me. And lights turned green and people moved over. And then I was only 5 minutes late, which was actually perfect timing. So don't get so caught up in, I can't get my energy elevated. That's why I'm having a terrible day. No, it was probably from something several weeks ago. And if you work on your energy now, it's going to feed your future. And if you work on your energy every single day, you're going to make a beautiful, positive path for yourself every single day. And you're going to value and appreciate it. And you can use Esther Hicks' beautiful, affirmation. What if everything is working out for me? I like that one so much because I like the word working. I do like to work, so I vibrate positively towards that word, but I like it that it's in the ing formation, because it means like it's all unraveling. Anything that could be holding you back or not allowing you to be in this space of where you want to really be in, that it's working through it. It's shifting things magically beyond anything that you think you have power over, so that you can have a different perception, a different reality, and a different experience. And that's really why we've come to Earth. We came here to have different experiences in a physical reality. We came here to learn how to dance with the molecular energy and allow ourselves to be part of the co-creative process, which we are co-creating. That means we're creating with the universe. But humans don't typically think that. They look at everything from a logical perspective and they think it's all related to logic, but it's not. It's all related to magic, vibration, frequency, joy. So I think that might be helpful. I'm going to go ahead and go to the voicemails that people have graciously left. You can go to energyintuitive.com and leave a voicemail message and I will answer it eventually. We do have a lot of people who leave a message and I'm very grateful for it. It is my way of giving back. And so we're going to get started right now.
Hi, Marie. My name is Teresa, and I'm calling from Massachusetts. I have a question. I've had hip osteoarthritis for many years, and it's really only started impacting my daily life this past year. I've decided to schedule hip replacement surgery. I found a great surgeon, and all of a sudden these other issues have started popping up before I can have the surgery. I'm 63 and I've always been very healthy. The first issue was a tooth root decaying, which was only seen on x-ray because there was no pain and my lower tooth looked perfectly healthy. Then a month later, I got diagnosed with AFib, trying to figure out what's happening. Any intuition as to what I need to do and why energetically this is happening. I do the infrared, balance board, grounding, Reiki, and I'm looking into tapping and Qigong. And any insight you can give to me would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Teresa, that you're having some health issues. Please do not use the vibration plate after you have joint replacements, unless you get, clear permission from your physician. I think the vibration, actually a client brought this to my attention, is not going to be great for joint replacement. Makes sense, right? But if your doctor says it's okay, great. So you're doing red light therapy. You didn't address the osteoporosis, which I find interesting. And of course, modern medicine either has a pharmaceutical process for, and I guess you did through the near infrared and red light therapy, but maybe not through supplements like magnesium, zinc, healthy forms of calcium, things that build bones. And because it's the strongest force in the body, it's an interpretation of being stubborn or not letting go. So I would say that it would be important for you to start letting go, even if you're not sure what you're letting go of, which is actually better not to have a logical awareness of it, but to just be in the energy of, what if I surrender and get out of the way? And then AFib, when I look at your heart chakra, you've got a really complicated heart chakra energy system. I don't know if you've experienced a lot of betrayal or if it's been hard to let people in, but it's complicated. In other words, when I see the energy moving into your heart muscle and the surrounding area, it's not moving in like a rhythmatic flow. It's moving in from different areas and then it's kind of mixing up. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Different people can move energy in their body differently, but because you have a health issue there, and I'm noticing this, strange format of energy or different than what I normally see, then I would say immediately, oh, we need to change the way the energy is moving into your heart chakra. It's not a smooth flow. It's kind of erratic, where it comes in from one direction and then another direction. And it looks really beautiful. Almost looks like lightning. It's a lovely light purple, electric impulse, but we know the heart chakra has its own electrical impulse. So I think this energetic impulse is interfering with your human cardiac electrical system. And this is going to be because you haven't resolved some heart issues. You've probably been hurt or wounded. I mean, we all have to some degree, right? But it's going to be related to the heart chakra. Maybe you have felt emotionally abandoned in your life. I think it would be great to do some inner childhood work. That tends to be the best bet when it comes to doing inner healing of traumas. And minor things can be considered a trauma to a child, right? I have one of my grandchildren is really sensitive. Well, three of them are, but the oldest one is the most sensitive. When she was a baby, I remember her aunt and I, one of my other daughters, we were putting her down to bed. We had to sing Twinkle, Twinkle Star, Little Star for like an hour. I mean, I forgot the words to the song. Like we're almost asleep. She just wouldn't go down. She needed tons of soothing. So luckily she has a very nurturing mother, because perhaps, because I don't think I would be as nurturing as my daughter is to her daughter. I'd be more like, get over it, knock it off, get in the car, come on, we gotta go. But her mother is so nurturing to her that my grandchild, her daughter, is not going to have a lot of traumas, because her mom's right there making eye contact, telling her everything's okay, holding her hand, being patient, waiting for her. So all kids are different, and kids have their own unique needs. And what we may think is minor could be traumatic to a kid. I'm telling you this because a lot of people, when I tell them they have childhood traumas, go, no, I don't, because they think of the obvious things that cause trauma, like being physically abandoned or abused in some way. But even ignoring a child is a form of emotional and verbal abuse, believe it or not. So I think you need to do some inner child work. I think you probably need a really good coach / therapist. There are people on my website that I recommend, but you might know someone in your area, or maybe you were considering it. I think that's what you need. And then we can get all this stuff to go away. You're going to surrender, let go. And when people have been betrayed, it's hard to let go, because they're trying to protect themselves or prevent some type of betrayal to happen again. So they're kind of overly focused, and it makes it difficult for them to be vulnerable in relationships. I hope that's helpful. And good luck with the surgeries. I'm sending energy to the ORs, even if it's, a year from now, for you to have the surgery, so that the surgeon and all the supporting staff are well rested, and all the right appliances are in the OR, and that everyone's having fun and your body's cooperating. The temperature's excellent. All the medication is working perfectly. That's what I'm doing. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Hillary. I'm calling from Northern Virginia. My mom passed away after a 3-year battle with cancer last August, and it's been really hard. She was sort of like the matriarch and anchor of our family, and it's been a real struggle for all of us left behind. She was a wonderful mother, and we had a very idyllic childhood, and we all miss her very much. I was just wondering if she had anything for me. I also wanted to ask about my husband, who's had some mysterious health issues. He has 2 genetic liver mutations, but something appears to be wrong with his ability to regulate his blood sugar, and he goes into hypoglycemic modes. He's been wearing a continuous glucose monitor, but he feels like it's a prison ankle bracelet, and we just can't get to the bottom of what the problem is. He's been to see a liver specialist at Georgetown, a GI doctor, a holistic MD, his regular primary care. We're on a wait list to get him in to see an endocrinology specialist at UVA. I would love to know if you have any insight as to what is going on in his body, because he gets cognitively impaired when he gets into these states. And also, in conjunction with my question about my husband and his health, he is very good in sales and he's very good with people, but he really is unhappy in his job, despite accolades, despite being a top producer, despite the money. And he has never really known what he wanted to do or had much of a direction with where he'd like to go in his career that would be fulfilling. And I would love for this last chapter of his career, he's 51 years old, for him to be able to do something that brings him joy or fulfillment or contentment, because he's really struggled and suffered. And he's been wonderful to me while I've gone back to school later in life to get an advanced degree to pursue my passion. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. And I really enjoy your podcast every week. And I would just love to hear if you feel anything about my husband, health-wise or career-wise. And if you hear anything from my mom, I was also very close to my grandparents, who lived to be over 100 years old. And my grandma died in July of 2022, and my grandpa died in April of 2018. Again, thank you. And I look forward to hearing you address this if I'm so fortunate enough to be selected on an upcoming podcast. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks, Hillary. I'm so sorry about your mom's passing. And I answer everyone's question as long as I can hear it. And some people leave me multiple messages. So we're trying to, the same question multiple times. So we try to avoid those as much as possible. I think because people don't realize how many questions I have to answer, that they go, well, she didn't get my question. I'm going to leave another voicemail. No, we got them. We got them, but it just may take me a while. Of course, your mother's here. Where else would she be? And I'm so happy that you enjoyed her while she was on Earth. I wish she had talked to her family about death and dying. She was a fighter. So even though 3 years of battling a health issue isn't a super long period of time, you wish she had lived longer. She really needed to let go because she suffered a lot, and she didn't talk about death and dying. She was a fighter, which is annoying. Death is inevitable here on Earth. Everyone's going to leave, almost everyone, because some souls are just going to walk out of their bodies and not have what we call the death experience. Those are very evolved masters who live on Earth and who are helping humanity evolve. They're devoted to the evolution of humanity. And someday all of us will leave our bodies in that way. If we incarnate to Earth, we won't get a disease to die or be killed by someone or, kill ourselves. We will just walk out. But yeah, your mom regrets that. She's crying, by the way, because she loves all of you too. It was her greatest joy to raise a family. And it's funny because when I talk to people who've crossed, we're also having this mental telepathic personal conversation. I call it personal. I share all of it when I, read for someone but it's just another insight for me, because when you were talking in my head, I'm like, oh, she was controlling your mom. And she goes, yes, I was very controlling, but she loved her life. She loved her family. She was devoted, and she's so happy that you loved your childhood. You have a great mom. You still have a great mom. I know I'm saying mom and you're not Australian or from the UK or another part of the world that uses mom, but that's what I'm being asked to say. So if you could just continue this relationship, like have tea with her in the morning, have coffee. Imagine that she's sitting there in the bathroom helping you pick out the right mascara, just continue the relationship. That would bring her great joy, and that would give you what you want, this endless connection to your mother. And I guess too, when you have grandparents that have lived as long as yours did, which I wish that for everyone on Earth who wants to be in their body for a long time, that you assumed your mother would live that long too. But everyone's on their own timeline, and it really has nothing to do with genetics. So your mom kisses you all over your face. She loves you, and she wants you to continue this relationship. Don't think that it ended just because, and these are her words, that she died a terrible way. And she's kind of mad at modern medicine, by the way. Your mother is really smart. And I said to her, I go, well, you could have learned more about a lot of things while you were in a body, so you won't be shocked by the way things are done on Earth. And she doesn't roll her eyes at me, but she just kind of lifts. She has beautiful eyelashes. She was a very beautiful woman. She lifts her eyeballs up and just kind of flashes her eyes at me like, but she loves you very much, and everyone else. Okay, I hope that's helpful. And I'm really happy your grandparents are with your mother. I'm very happy that they're all together because they love each other. And it's really nice to have it when you have people in your family line that you love. It's so nice to be together when you're on the other side. Now, regarding your husband, you have to stop worrying about him. Liver stuff, and obviously this is genetic, but it's about repressed anger. He does not feel his emotions. He acts annoyed and frustrated a lot. I don't even think that's actually how he feels. He really needs therapy from a good therapist who understands energy. That would be great for him. Most people, when their blood sugar drops, are not thinking correctly. Our whole family tends to be hypoglycemic. So we all eat lots of protein. So that's what he has to do too, is to eat lots of protein, because protein lasts longer in the body and it helps keep the blood sugar elevated. When anyone has a blood sugar issue, whether it's insulin isn't prevalent and the islets of Langerhorn within the pancreas, so they aren't getting sugar into the cells, or they're hypoglycemic, which also means they're not getting sugar into the cells. It's about not enjoying the sweetness of life. This is the picture I get for your husband regarding what he could do next. And I know that's not what you meant. You want to know what he could do within his current job. I don't think his current job does it for him, period. But he's not going to leave it. He wants to be the breadwinner for as long as he can be, or a strong participant in that. But something to do with dogs. If he had like a doggy daycare, I know that sounds really weird, or he was a dog walker, or if he could invent something for dogs, like that would make him really, really happy. And as I'm telling you that, remember, I was a person who didn't like dogs and I like them. So people cannot, when psychics see something about another person, we have to make sure that the person we're reading for realizes that we're seeing something authentic about them. And if their mind is telling them something different, they, like everyone else on the planet, needs to learn to not listen to their brain and to actually pay attention to their authentic emotions. But your husband's very detached from his emotions. And although I know you're going to help him, you're a wonderful partner for him, but stop pouring all your energy into helping him. He's a little stubborn. He won't do the inner work. And sometimes we can't help people if they don't do inner work. Some people get better without doing inner work, but the majority of the population will not have the progression and the solutions that they want without participating in inner work. I hope that's helpful. Your mom's waving furiously. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. This is Tiffany calling from Japan. I've called or left a message previously. You've not gotten to that question yet, but I'm calling again because I am working on meditating regularly. I'm improving a lot, using some of the advice I've learned from listening to your podcast, because I'm listening to the old shows when,
Great.
until the new show comes out, and I'm learning a lot. And you gave someone else the advice or their guides through you to use brown noise. And so I've been doing that. That's been very helpful. One thing that I'm experiencing pretty much every time is I get into this really great place and I'm very relaxed, whatever. And I feel a lot of energy around my head. And it's like coming down. I don't know. The energy is starting at the top and it's coming down. But for me, it feels scary. Like it feels like I'm being sucked into a vortex or something.
Yeah.
And, I don't associate it with anything negative. I don't think I do, but it's almost like an involuntary reaction. Like it's there. I feel the energy. I'm trying to tell myself it's calm, this is good, it's love, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But when that moment where it's like where I do feel like I'm being sucked in somehow, it's just like an involuntary reaction, and I clench,
Yeah.
and I push it away, like basically it instantly it's done,
Right.
and I have to. And I have instant regret, and I try to talk to myself like it's okay, no, just relax, you're okay, this is whatever, and I get there again, and so it happens multiple times, but I've never, and almost every time not every time I meditate, but almost every time, and I just feel like if I could just get over this hump, this obstacle, if I could get past it, I think I would be good, and that it would be easy, it wouldn't be an issue in the future, but for some reason I have this barrier right here. And so, any advice you can give to help me with that, or uh, an understanding of maybe what's happening? Maybe that will make me a little bit more relaxed when that occurs. I don't know. Anything you can share will be very helpful. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you.
Hi, Tiffany. You're welcome. And thank you for the description. It made me laugh in a good way because I can't tell you how many people don't describe it exactly the way that you did, but so many people are afraid of energy, and energy is a force. When you start to feel it, it is a blessing. You are on the right track. You are evolving. You are moving into higher realms of consciousness. I mean, we can feel the wind. We can feel rays of light coming from, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of miles away the sun is from Earth. And then people get shocked when they feel subatomic particles that are inside them and around them and part of the universe. So it's very, very normal. And energy can feel like multiple different things. It can feel like pressure. It can feel like you're levitating. It can feel joyful. It can feel weird. So here's what I want you to do, because you're doing all the right things by telling yourself, honey, it's okay. But here's what I think you should say to the universe is, dear universe. And so maybe after you've listened to some brown noise or you're on a precious walk, because I like to do, when I talk to the universe, from kind of my humanness, I wait till I have a sacred moment. I like to combine them. And a sacred moment to me could be a dog walk, right? It could be after chasing some cute little grandkids around the house, because they like me to chase them. It's a really great workout. So I do. I want you to say to the universe, I know I'm scared, the S word, poopless, but the other S word. But I really want these experiences. So thank you so much for helping me at the highest level possible for me to have these experiences that I desire. Because what happens when our autonomic system gets involved, when we start to move into fight or flight, the universe pulls back. So you're right. It stops. It stops because the universe is listening to your physiological system and it's reacting to it by pulling back. So if you could say to it, I know I'm scared. I don't care. I want this experience, and the universe will help you to stay centered and within it. We don't want to stop this feeling of energy. Nothing bad will happen to you. I love that it feels like you're moving into a vortex, but you're not going to leave your body. I used to think when I read the book Super Beings, and I was very touched by that book. I was about 23, maybe 22 years old. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to ditch my family because I was already married. I got married quite young, and go live in an ashram or a Tibetan temple in order to continue to grow, because it felt there was this alive pulsation that I was feeling and experiencing just from reading the book by John Randolph Price. And my guides told me right then, I didn't know they were guides, but they told me right then, you can be spiritual while you're sitting on a toilet. You don't have to go anywhere. So nothing bad will happen to you. You're just getting used to the frequency and the vibration of energy. And after a while, if it goes away, you're going to want it to be there all the time. If I don't feel energy in my body every single day, that's when I'm concerned. Okay, I hope that's helpful.
Hi, Marie. This is Carmel. I have a question for you. Do any of my guides have a message for me? And do they feel that I am reaching out to them? Is anyone standing beside me? And I'm always wondering if I'm an old soul. Thank you.
Hi, Carmel. You have old soul frequency and vibration. Of course, your spirit guides can hear and see and feel everything and anything that you say in connection with them, but you're not feeling a response because you have to raise your vibration. If I were to measure your frequency, where you're holding your vibration most of the time, and I'm using the example of 0 to 100, and 100 would be where we want our vibration to be. You're at about 30. So when people can get their vibration to like 50 to 70, they begin to have more connection and spiritual experience. It's not that they're not having them, but they can sense them. They can recognize them. They can more fully participate in them because their molecular mass is moving at a faster rhythm. Think of the spiritual realm. It runs its energy super, super, super fast. So humans have to elevate their own energy, which also is elevating your consciousness. You become more aware, begin to see things very differently when you run your subatomic particles at a higher frequency. So that's all you have to do. I do see a woman next to you. She could be your mother, it could be a grandmother, and she keeps putting like she's fixing your hair, like putting bows in it or flowers. She's wearing a blue dress. It's kind of long. I wonder if it's like an evening coat for bed, like a robe, but fancier. And she keeps fixing your hair, it's very loving and nurturing. It is a female in your family, perhaps your mother or your grandmother. Okay, thank you.
Hello, Marie. My name is Donon. I'm located in Round Rock, Texas. I'm reaching out regarding my 10-year-old son, Aiden. The challenge we've been having with him, he has symptoms of what is commonly known as autism. We don't really call it that because it's more complicated. Anyway, don't need to get into all of that. But we've been trying for 9 years, raising heaven and earth to use cutting edge biomedical interventions to reverse the symptoms.
Right.
But most of what that's done is just drained our bank account,
Right.
To the point where we're in a very dangerous, precarious financial situation. And my marriage is falling apart.
I'm so sorry.
Our younger son is completely traumatized. The whole family's traumatized.
So sorry.
So we got a walls closing in kind of situation. I have been trying to reach out for kind of guidance from the spirit. Spirit seems to be kind of on the quiet side, probably because of the frequency I'm vibrating at, with all the sadness and stress and all that. But any rate, I would love to get any insights on maybe something you think I could be doing, or maybe a way to better communicate with divine guidance. So anyhow, that's it. Thanks for listening. Bye.
I'm so sorry, Donon, everything that's happened. I truly am. And thank you for taking such wonderful care of your son and doing everything you can to help him have a different experience. So you may not like what I'm about to say. I apologize up front for saying this. So souls that choose, especially when children have things that are challenging or difficult to treat, like different forms of autism, right? I'm just using that as an example. They choose to have those experiences. And let's say if we're going to look at like all the different realms of autism, Asperger's, or, and I know you're not using that term, and I congratulate you. I think that's excellent. I'm just using it for simplicity right now, because you're right, it is complicated. That these kids chosen for a continuing experience for humanity, because we have children around the world who have autistic type aspects, if you will, or Asperger's. In fact, in the Middle East, there's many organizations that are devoted to helping kids who have significant autistic behaviors, because there happens to be a population that's maybe even higher than other regions of the world, or they just have a lot of resources, and so it's more known. I'm not really sure which one it is. So these kids collectively wanted to have these experiences and came into Earth for one very important reason. They have their own unique personal desires and reasons, but they have a collective reason. They want to change the educational system throughout the world. So they believe that and they're right, their souls are devoted to making change, because the educational system throughout the world is, or at least most of the world, because I don't know all of the educational systems in the world, are not good. We're trying to get kids to learn all the same things at all the same time, which is insanely ridiculous and irresponsible and unkind, and it navigates one's spirit. Children need to be taught individually. They need to have their individualization protected. So what would actually help you and your wife and your son and your family is for you to stop trying to fix this. And I think it's happening because you're running out of resources, so you can't go try all of these unique and different things. Detachment is critical when it comes to finding a solution, whatever that might be, or even acceptance. I think that if people love the way something is that they want to change, like if they really, really love it exactly the way it is, that's when it can change. But when we're fighting against something and we're trying to get something to change, we're actually freezing it. We're not letting it morph. We're focusing on the things we don't like about it. And so it stays that way. And that's what you and your family have done regarding your son. And I'm very, very sorry, because I know it doesn't make logical sense what I'm talking about, but I think that your whole entire family needs to embrace the way your son is right now. And if that means you need more help in your family, or you need to have more unique living situations, because I don't know his whole entire circumstances, but he does seem to require care from what I can see, then that's what you're going to have to do eventually if you need to recoup some resources. So I'm basically recommending that you let go and start to see your son as a blessing exactly the way he is. And I know you love him. Obviously, you're devoted to him. You love him and you see this potential in him. But not everybody reaches the potential that we as humans believe that someone has, especially empathic people. Empathic people can see the potential of pretty much anyone. And a lot of empaths will waste precious amount of time and energy helping another person. It could be a child, it could be a lover, it could be a beloved family member. They try to help them elevate to that potential. But not everyone actually, in fact, very few people evolve into their potential in one lifetime. It can take multiple lifetimes. And it's up to the soul. It doesn't matter what the empathic person does. It's up to the soul. Your son chose this experience for really, really good reasons. Obviously, the collective consciousness is a powerful thing that needs to change. Our educational system needs massive change, but he also has personal, important reasons why he chose this. And I think this is what your meditation needs to be about. Detachment, surrendering, embracing this, loving this exactly the way it is, even if it never changes, which will make you cry, most likely, and you probably already have. It's going to help you to see the beauty of your child exactly the way your child is. And that's going to be why he came here. I hope that's helpful. I truly, truly do. And we're all sending powerful energy to you. Thank you.
Hello, Marie. It's Katja from Slovenia. It's my third time. I think I have become a regular caller. I'm just so fascinated with all of this content. I have a really good question. I'm so curious about this one. I want to ask you about our auric fields. First of all, I'm totally fascinated by them. The image of our first layer being this huge hologram of our optimal health is wow. But I wanted to ask you, how do our auric fields interact, especially when we are in small spaces? For example, when two people live together, do the auric fields bounce off of each other in any way? Do they intertwine? Yeah. What happens to our auric field when we are in planes and buses, in crowded spaces? And is that kind of an interaction different from when we would be, for example, in a collective dance event or concert? I'm just very curious how our auric fields communicate, basically. And what does happen to our auric field in an orgasmic state? I'm so very grateful for your videos about the chakras and the layers of the auric field. It has been really one of the most valuable information for my well-being. I never knew our auric field can be so huge, and I'm just totally fascinated by all this. So thank you very much. Much love. Well, actually from Iceland at this moment. I am from Slovenia, but at the moment I am in Iceland, which is not bad either. Big hugs. Bye-bye. Thank you for answering.
Hi, Katya. Yeah, we have a dear family member or friend that we think of as a family member whose family has tons of relatives in Iceland. So one of my children has been there, and she's leaving for Iceland again very, very soon, and speaks highly of the country and how beautiful it is. Great question, by the way. So if you imagine how big the auric field is, it's moving through everything all the time. Like, this is normal for the auric field. It's very normal to, like, everything's moving in and out of it all the time. You know, in the movie from Harry Potter, right? And it's when Harry's going off to the magic schools and he's in the train station, and he has to stand back and run into the wall so that he can go into the magic school. Well, that's normal. Like, the auric field is constantly moving and shaking, and it's a living, breathing thing. It doesn't think anything negatively about anything. However, I will say the auric field is smoother and runs in lovelier vibrations when we are surrounded by like-minded people. That's why I think when it comes to marriage, however someone wants to marry or move into union with another being, I don't think people should, if they're young and planning that, I think they should wait till their second Saturn return, which is around the age of 30, because people change so much in that latter stage of their 20s and the earliest part of their 30s. Their brain finishes being developed. And so they start to formulate more, oh, this is who I am, this is what I believe in, this is what I want. And if you've already married someone who doesn't have those same beliefs and their brain formulated differently, yikes, that's not going to be very fun. But it's really beneficial to be around like-minded people. There's more flow, there's ease. Now, what we want to be able to do is to raise our vibration and to allow our auric field to be in ease, no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, no matter whom we're around. So that's why sometimes people will say you can tell how you're doing on your evolutionary path when you go hang out with someone that drives you crazy and you realize that, oh, you're fine. Basically go hang out with some family members. So it's normal. The auric field is used to things moving in and out of it all the time. The other side is only 3 feet away from the physical world. So that means dead people are walking through our auras all the time. All the time. Think about it, that dimensions are practically on top of each other and they're interwoven. When we look at the 6th layer of the auric field, the phrase that lives on that field is, we are all one. The 7th layer is individualization, where we become our own unique selves. But the 6th layer is, we are all one. So to be interconnected is normal. I hope that helps. And if it's a healthy union and a healthy orgasm, I'm sure the auric field is delighted beyond anything we could possibly imagine. Okay, great question. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. Hey, thanks for all you do. I'm Robert, also in Washington State. I have a couple of things I'd like to run by you going on with me. A couple of years ago, I was experiencing discomfort with both eliminations. And as time went on, I had a CAT scan and MRI, and those revealed a couple of things. One, an enlarged bladder, and also that I have BPH. Another thing that showed up or was discovered in those readings was a growth on one of my adrenals. Now, the numbers are high on that and still were 8 months ago, but I have no symptoms. So I'm not sure what to make of all that. Okay. One more thing going on, at least one that I know of. I had a urine test through Vibrant Wellness, and it revealed that I have several toxins in my system. So I'm currently on a detox regimen for this. Anyway, your insight on these things would sure be appreciated. Thanks so much.
Okay. Well, thank you, Robert, for sharing your health issues. I'm sorry that you've had them. BPH is benign prostate growth is what it means. I can't remember the exact translation for it, but it's a non-cancerous form of prostate enlargement, if you will, something like that. So, obviously you don't like modern medicine. And I really think people need to embrace both. Having a growth in your adrenal glands is not good, even though you're not sympathetic. What is your cortisol levels at? And have you had that checked out by a natural path, not just an MD? Because MDs don't treat elevated cortisol until people are in crisis. And cortisol crisis could be a surgical event, definitely hospitalization. We don't want to get there. So even though you're not sympathetic that you know of, or symptom, you don't have any symptoms that you know of right now, because a lot of people know how to function in fight or flight and they think everything's normal. That's like the majority of the population functions in fight or flight all the time. I mean, people are looking at their phones, they're watching television, they're listening to videos, they're in fight or flight, even when nobody's chasing them. So you could have the benign prostate reduced. You could have the Roto-Rooter. That would be modern medicine, which again, I'm not against. I love all forms of medicine. I think God made everything, not just herbs. That's what I think. I'm always a little apprehensive about some of the toxicities that some companies report. But I'm someone who believes in detoxifying kind of all the time. And how I do that is I change my diet. I don't eat certain things for months at a time. I avoid certain things for months at a time. I also eat very clean. The majority of the time I drink lots of really clean water. I rarely drink from a plastic bottle unless I'm traveling. And that's one of my options. I drink filtered water always. So I would love to have you have these tests again, by a natural path, by the way. I'm not against detoxifying But some companies just read some toxins too high. I know that sounds weird, but I've seen people on, detoxifying herbs for years and years and years, and their doctors, which are mostly naturopaths, don't recommend that they go off of them. I'm like, so we need to get your fight or flight response down. And I know you feel like you probably don't have fight or flight, but I think you do. I think you run very anxiously. And the second chakra, which is the vortex that governs everything that we're talking about, governs the adrenals, governs the prostate gland, governs the urine, all the bladder, everything that we're talking about right now is the second chakra. And the second chakra is emotion, because every one of the 7 vortexes has an emotional component. And we are in alignment with health when we hold that emotion, when we participate in it, when it's active in our lives, when we're in alignment. So the second chakra's emotion is joy. So that tells me you are not having a lot of joy. You got to figure that out. That's a personal thing. What brings one person joy? I happen to love to travel. Now, I get annoyed before I travel. I have to get my house ready. I have a house sitter that comes to take care of all my pets. I own my own business, so there's all of that. I usually don't sleep the night before very well, and I'm an overpacker, so I usually have a lot of luggage that I'm carrying. But as soon as I get into the car to get to the airport, I'm in heaven. In fact, I'm in heaven the moment my luggage hits the concrete right outside of the airport. I'm just like, ah. So I know it brings me joy, but my mental mind might go, oh, I got to pack. I got to take care of all these things, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the truth. The truth is my body, my energy system loves to travel. So there's a lot about ourselves that we don't know, especially what will bring us joy, because we're listening to our mind all the time, and our mind is complaining about things that aren't even really true for us. Like, I don't need to pack all those clothes, right? All the sitters I've had have done a wonderful job, and I don't have to make sure my house is perfect before I go. And I certainly should not hang out any flower baskets, because they're probably not going to get any water while I'm gone. So these are the things you need to do, Robert. You need to find authentic joy. You need to practice it, so that we can get positive, powerful energy moving into your second chakra, which one will start to feed all of these areas. You do need to get your cortisol levels checked out by a naturopath if you have not yet. And that needs to be addressed, whether you're symptomatic or not, because cortisol is a weird thing. And we don't want something on top of your adrenals, because your cortisol level comes from your adrenal glands. Okay, I hope that's helpful. All right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Melissa. A few weeks ago, I got this rash on the left side of my torso, and it's pretty itchy. And I was hoping that you could do a scan to let me know what this rash could be caused from and what solution do you see. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye.
Hi, Melissa. You probably have already figured this out, because I don't know when you left this message, but you need to make some dietary changes. You need to reevaluate. The first thing I hear, no more sugar. I know. And so you could eat fruits like apples and berries, but no added sugar, no regular sugar, no stevia you can have, no guava, no syrup, no monk fruit. That's what you need to not eat sugar for like at least a year. I really think that people shouldn't eat sugar, period. It's not healthy for anyone. Of course, I eat some sugar. Sometimes I eat more than I would like, but my body loves it when I don't eat sugar, especially for, when I get past 3 weeks of not eating sugar, my body is thrilled. So no sugar for you. I think that it's what it's connected to. So it's kind of connected to yeast. I think your body is producing more yeast, and yeast eats sugar. So if you stop eating sugar and carbohydrates, or reduce them significantly, then the yeast that is out of proportion in your body can't continue to thrive. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode. Thank you for leaving your questions. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye-bye.